All right, this is the criminal trial of State versus Jahmell W. Crockam under indictment 11-3-471. Will counsel enter the appearances beginning with the State?
Good morning, Your Honor. William J. Heisler, Chief Assistant Prosecutor for the State.
Good morning, Your Honor. Michael Weatherstone, Senior Assistant Prosecutor for the State.
Good morning, Your Honor. Mark Fury for Mr. Crockam, present to my left.
All right. As you know, this is a criminal case. There are three basic rules about a criminal case that you must keep in mind. Firstly, the defendant is presumed innocent until proved guilty. The indictment against the defendant brought by the government is only an accusation, nothing more. It is not proof of guilt or anything else. The defendant therefore starts out with a clean slate. Secondly, the burden of proof is on the government until the very end of the case. The defendant has no burden to prove his innocence or to present any evidence or to testify. Since the defendant has the right to remain silent, the law prohibits you from considering the defendant may not have testified in arriving at your verdict.
Yes, thank you, Judge. Good morning to you, Mr. Crockam, learned prosecutors, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. Says who? You are going to see the most remarkable display of the most unsavory characters, each of which has the most piquant and delicious motivation to lie to you that I have ever had the opportunity to cross-examine in a trial. In fact, the witnesses are going to fall into three categories. You will have people who want to help the prosecution because they are shocked by what happened in their neighborhood, and I can certainly understand that. But when you hear their testimony, you won't know who the shooter was because they don't know who the shooter was. They will accurately report what they saw, but you will hear through their testimony and through my cross-examination that they weren't sure then, and they have good reason not to be sure now in their identification of the shooter. You're going to hear lots of police officers who will tell you how Officer Matlos died, when Officer Matlos died, where he died, but they can't tell you who killed him either. And then you're going to meet, I don't know if you guys remember the Rocky and Bullwinkle show, Boris Badenov, the Villains, Thieves, and Scoundrels Union. You're going to meet 6 or 7 of them. And as the learned and distinguished prosecutor said, I urge you to bring your common sense and life experience and apply it to their testimony. The judge will instruct you later, but one of the things I think he'll say is that when a witness takes the stand and isn't honest with you, you can choose to discount some or all of what they say. And I think you're going to have trouble with some of the folks they present. As I said, each of whom has a reason to suddenly now, after the fact, tell you something about Jahmell Crockam. There are facts that are undisputed. Officer Matlos died in the line of duty for reasons that I, for one, can't explain. There's no justification. It is a horrible crime. But that's why I, for one, am honored to be here and grateful to you for serving, because together with the prosecutor and the judge and the court staff, we are going to engage in the greatest exercise of our highest ideals. Because in our nation, we believe that a person charged with a crime has the right to face his accusers in open court in front of a jury of his peers and be proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. And I submit you're going to have some doubts. One of the things that is undisputed, Jahmell Crockam was in Lakewood on that day. Officer Matlos died on that day. Cell phone records, videotape, his own statement. He doesn't dispute he was there. What he denies is that he was the shooter. And What you're going to hear and I respect what Mr. Heisler said. He doesn't have to lay out every detail of his whole case right now. We'll hear it all. We'll be here together for it. But one of the things that you're going to hear is that on that day, Mr. Crockam was not the only person on the streets in dark clothing. When Officer Valman called and tried to find out where Jahmell Crockam was for reasons unrelated to Officer Matlos at the time, he stirred the hornet's nest and 2 or 3 guys hit the streets in dark clothing. And I submit to you, you will be unable to determine who went where, who did what, and why. You're going to hear all about a black sweatshirt. You're going to meet 5 people that had on black sweatshirts or dark sweatshirts that day.
Please state your name and spell both of your names for the record.
Sergeant Stephen Vigna, first name S-T-E-V-E-N, last is Vigna, V as in Victor, I-G-N-A, badge number 222, Lakewood Police Department.
Thank you, Sir Harris.
Good morning, Sergeant.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Prosecutor, proceed for your direct examination at this time.
Thank you, Your Honor. Sergeant, by whom are you employed,
The Township of Lakewood, sir.
and in what capacity?
As a sergeant with the Lakewood Police Department.
And how long have you been a police officer in Lakewood?
In Lakewood, about 23 and a half years.
And were you on duty at around 4 p.m. on the afternoon of January 14th, 2011?
Yes, I was.
And that was a Friday afternoon?
Yes.
And was Officer Christopher Matlos working the same shift as you?
Yes, he was.
What was your function around 4 o'clock in the afternoon that day?
I was patrol sergeant on duty. I was on the road at the time.
And one of your functions at that point is to be the supervisor for the other officers?
That's correct.
And at some point a little bit after 4, was there a radio call that caught your attention?
Yes, there was.
What was the nature of that call?
They were dispatching officers to a shots fired call. I was listening as the call was developing. At some point, dispatch related that there was a male party shot in the head.
And, excuse me. And when you heard that, did you decide to respond to it?
Yes.
And how far away were you at the time?
It's approximately 4 miles away.
How did you respond?
I responded code 3. I activated my lights and sirens on my patrol car and responded in that manner.
And did there come a point in time where a description was broadcast of a possible party involved?
Yes.
What was the description?
Objection to the description, Jackson.
I'll sustain the objection.
Did you receive a description of the party?
Dispatch had put out a description.
Okay. And did there come a point in time where you were informed that an officer might be involved in the shooting?
Yes.
So you proceeded the 15-14 August drive,
Correct.
and when you arrived there, what did you observe?
When I arrived there, I observed a patrol car already parked in that area. I pulled up and parked behind the other patrol car. I recalled I hadn't heard an officer sign out there, so I was surprised to see the car there. But upon seeing it, I felt that an officer had already gotten out at the scene.
And did you get out of your vehicle at that point?
Yes, I did.
And did you approach the other police vehicle?
Yes.
Describe the other police vehicle for me.
It was a marked patrol vehicle, white in color, Lakewood Police decal on the door.
Overhead lights,
Yes.
clearly marked as a Lakewood police car.
Yes, sir.
And did you approach that car?
Yes, I did.
What did you observe when you got there?
When I got there, I observed the vehicle was parked. As I recall, the driver's door was open. There was a gentleman standing outside the door, who I described in my report as a middle-aged, possibly Hispanic-looking man. He was just standing there outside the door looking into the vehicle.
And did you look into the vehicle?
Yes, I did.
And when you did that, what did you see?
I observed Officer Christopher Matlos seated in the driver's seat. I immediately noticed his shirt was covered in blood. There was blood about his face, dripping from his nose. There was no signs of life that I could detect. No sound, no breathing. no chest rise and fall, no motion. Body was positioned toward the door. His head was downward and his eyes were closed.
You said there was blood dripping from his nose.
Yes.
Was there blood also coming from his mouth?
Yes.
And no signs of life?
Correct.
At that point, Sergeant, did Officer Matlos appear to you to be dead?
Yes, sir.
At that point, what did you do?
I stepped away from the vehicle, began to walk toward the street. As I reached for my portable radio, I called dispatch and I said it's 317, which is Chris's badge number. And I said, I need everyone out here.
And by everyone you meant?
I meant send me superior officers, detectives, CIU, prosecutor's office.
CIU is the Sheriff's Department?
Criminalistics unit, yes, sir.
And they come out and process crime scenes?
Correct.
Now, how long do you think it took you to get there from the time that you started on your 4-mile or so journey?
Approximately 4 minutes.
The item here that's sitting on the seat, can you tell the jury what that is?
That would be the front panel of officer's ballistic vest.
And to your knowledge, was that removed to remove him from the car?
Yes, I believe that was removed by first aid.
Okay. S-15?
Again, interior looking from the driver's side of the vehicle. You can see the front panel of the ballistic vest. The officer's gear bag here on the seat. Baseball hat on the keyboard.
And it shows.
The close-up shows a better view of the in-car camera,
And,
as well as the mobile data terminal.
and there's blood on the seat back, the seat bottom, and the steering wheel, is that correct?
That's correct.
As well as the console?
As well as the console.
I'm going to show you on the TV screen a photograph we're going to mark as S-72. Can you tell the jury what this photograph depicts?
That's Patrolman Christopher Matlos.
In uniform in a patrol car.
Correct.
Thank you. That's all I have for the sergeant, Your Honor.
Upon arriving at the scene, did you become aware of who the victim of the shooting was?
Yes, I did.
And who was it?
Officer Christopher Matlos.
Upon arriving at the scene, where was Officer Matlos located, if you remember?
He was seated in the patrol car, driver's seat.
When you arrived at the scene, had EMS arrived yet?
No, they had not.
Had other officers arrived on the scene?
Yes, there were officers on the scene.
Had an investigation begun?
We began an investigation at that point.
At that time, did you have any suspects?
No.
What, as the supervisor on the scene, what were you instructing people to do at that time?
We're closing off roadways. We were sending units into the area to take up positions to be available for information gathered at the scene, for descriptions being put out, so on and so forth. Secure witnesses, you know, just to flood the area with units is what we were doing.
Let me change the question. Sure. Based on your knowledge and recollection, and you responded to the scene.
That's correct.
Right. Is this the approximate area where Officer Matlos's patrol car was found?
Yes, that is correct.
And this over here is Gulfview Apartments and Joe Parker Road, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So when you said the incident happened on Joe Parker Road, you were speaking as a general and not a specific reference to time and space, right?
I agree.
No further questions, thank you.
Was that 320G? Come on, you make one. Advise them, we want to put that team on notice. Put the entry team on notice. Also, Lakewood, to get a hold of state police, have them start a bird into our area. You just have seen 2 weeks before that, you know, for medical purposes on the whole county area, but I'll go ahead now for this one. Lakewood, if you can get a hold of that JSP, just see if they can get a bird up. They can put one in the air for us. They already working on it. Thank you.
We're going to talk to this young lady who, it's so sad. I see you got some Michael Jackson Thriller It's just that, you know, it's a tribute to his great artistry as an American icon. I see you got some white gloves. Is that a sequel? That's another symbol of what Michael did. What is this? Looks like some boys' underwear. You did not.
Okay, Puerto Rico copy 3. Sure, away from that.
Not a very good animal. You did not say you get back up. Really just on.
Zulu, Mary Charlie 690, Zulu, Mary Charlie 690.
First thing you gotta do.
We have one under arrest, black male, black sweatshirt, unknown with the suspect. Right now, for stolen conduct, that's the car he was in. 280.8 under Virginia, what are you at? I got everyone out here with you. 280, you got a hold over, you can't work it out, kid. Well, kind of looking up. Can you run that reading for me? Okay. 40 for 26 is my deal. 50 Bravo 15665 05 872. Unfortunately, the fire being covered here, we have the other. 70 Bravo 76101566505 872. 87 last over top of 2. Thank you. 213, 213. I'll just block the road here, bud. Maybe right corner. Right here! In the car! Body board, everything! Chucky, can you secure his weapon? Good, you got to turn around. I'm sorry to be a dick, bro. Get out. I need his guts, you should before I do anything else. I don't care about anything else. It's in the holster, Dave, okay? Dave, it's in the holster. Okay. I can't get it out. Right. You got it, bro? Yeah. He's still with everything.